I'll let those joining know that we're going to be using 2 blocks today. And let's get started over on our mats, lying down. So find your way to a lying down position and take this opportunity to really feel the feeling of your body as you lie back. So we just went through a holiday, and it's a time where we tend to project a lot of our focus on others, which is great. But here it is Monday morning, we're on our yoga mats, and we're going to turn our awareness now toward ourselves, and specifically towards how we're feeling. So let's begin by connecting with the feeling of our physical bodies. How does it feel to be lying down? How does it feel to have that solid ground floor beneath you? How does it feel for your body to relax into the support of the floor, so to let go of the need to hold yourself up? And, holidays can be stressful. This whole year has been quite stressful. So that holding on of tension and stress that we tend to have in our bodies, can we begin to let that release now? And can we begin our practice in a body that is a little more relaxed? When we feel that groundedness, that really stable surface that's supporting us, we can recognize that we don't need to hold on so much. So let your body relax into the support of the floor. And see if you can just allow tension to melt out of you a bit, or a lot. And one nice technique to release tension is to bring our awareness to the roof of the mouth and invite the roof of the mouth to feel as though it's not only getting a little more soft and relaxed, but imagine the roof of your mouth broadening out towards the sides of the roof of your mouth, towards your molars and beyond, out to the sides. And then imagine the roof of your mouth expanding out, broadening out towards the back of your head, the base of your skull. So that rather than the roof of your mouth being a tight, narrow dome shape, it's more of a flat, plain surface that broadens out to the sides and broadens out towards the back of your head. And just notice how that feels. And then let's begin to notice what it feels like to breathe. Feel the breath moving in your body. Feel it flowing in and expanding into your lungs and ribs. And then feel the breath releasing and emptying out of you. So very conscious breathing here. We're going to deepen the inhale and let it expand out wide and up into the chest, into the collarbones, into the upper back. And after we've filled up with breath, we're going to give the exhale whatever time it needs to fully empty and release until we feel that the breath has gone all the way out. There's no more breath. And then we'll initiate our next inhale. So we're really slowing the breath down and feeling it move in the body. And really experiencing the complete emptying of air out of the body so that diaphragm fully releases. Feel that energetic quality of breath flowing in. And feel the soothing nature of a full release of breath. And do 2 more rounds of this very deep, expansive breathing in and out. And after your next full emptying of breath, you can transition to a more natural breath rhythm. But I'd like you to try to keep your focus on your breath, even a more natural breath. And see if you can focus your awareness only on your breath. Your mind is going to want to think about a lot of other things, and that's normal. But when you think about something else, just notice that your mind has wandered, and then with kindness, bring it back to focusing on your breathing. Your mind might wander a lot, and that's fine. That's the practice. Just recognize that your mind has wandered, and then just with kindness, bring it back to focusing on your breath. We're practicing mindfulness, mindful awareness, focusing on one thing. So I'd like you to turn your focus for a moment just to a check-in with how you're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally this morning. Just take a moment and just really recognize and acknowledge how you're doing. And then use that information to guide you in how you engage with this practice this morning. Maybe you need a gentle practice. Maybe you need to give yourself a little boost, get moving. Maybe you need to be tender with yourself. So just set an intention to treat yourself appropriately in the way you choose to move this morning. And then let's begin our movement practice. So let's take the one leg, doesn't matter, either leg, hug one knee in and then extend the other leg out straight. Bounce that leg that's straight a few times and then just let it relax into the floor. And hug the other knee in nice and close. When you hug this knee in close, do you notice, does your straight leg knee want to lift or the hip lift or anything? See if you can keep the straight leg heavy and down as the other knee hugs in close. Take that knee out to the side and take a breath. Bring it back, hug it in, cross it over your midline, pull it towards your opposite shoulder. Take a little breath into that outer hip. And then bring the knee back. Let go of the leg. I want you to point your toes and lift the leg up. And then flex your foot once your leg is up and bring that heel down. Do that again. Point the toes and lift the leg up. Flex your foot and lower the heel down. 2 more times. Point and raise and flex and lower and point and raise and flex and lower. Now keep your foot flexed and press the leg up. Point at the top and lower down. Flex and push your heel up. Point and bring it down. 2 more times. Flex and go up. Point and lower. Last one, flex and go up, point and lower. Good. Release that foot down, change legs. Hug your other knee in, extend the other leg out straight, bounce that straight leg a few times, and then just let it be really heavy. And can that leg stay heavy even as you hug the other knee in close? So that knee on the straight leg might want to lift up, but try to keep it down. Then take the bent knee and open it out to the side as you breathe in. Bring the knee back, grab it and hug it across your midline. Take a breath into that outer hip. And then bring that leg back, let go of it, your arms lowering to your side. We're gonna point the toe and lift the leg up. We'll flex the foot and lower the heel down. Point and lift, flex and lower. Two more, point and lift, flex and lower. Last one, point and lift, flex and lower. Now we're gonna keep the foot flexed and press it up. Point the toe and bend the knee. Flex and go up, point and bend down. Two more, flex and go up, point and go down. Sometimes they call this pointing. Press and go up, point and go down. Nice work. All right, let's put both feet on the floor now. We're gonna lift our heads up and clasp our hands under our head and let the weight of the head rest into the hands. We'll take a breath in. As we exhale, let's begin to knit the ribs down into the belly to lift up the head, neck, and shoulders. Kind of lift up and see if you can get your shoulder blades off the floor by knitting your ribs down, feeling the back of your low ribs on the floor. And then bring your feet off the floor. Bring your knees in towards your nose. Bring your ribs towards your thighs. And then can you even curl your hips up a little bit? And then we're gonna release the hips, release the feet, release the head. Take a breath. We'll exhale and curl up, then bring the knees up, and then lift the hips up. And then release the hips, release the feet, release the head, and breathe. Exhale, curl up, lift the knees, lift the hips, and then release the hips, release the feet, release the head. So just continuing like this, upper belly, lower belly, working simultaneously, really. Knitting the ribs and lifting the hips, and then inhaling back. Exhaling and curling up, inhaling and lowering down. Let's do a few more of these. Really waking up the core. Couple more. Last one here. Good job. All right, let's roll to our sides. We're going to come up onto our bottom forearm. Let's try to get the elbow right beneath the shoulder, lots of space from shoulder to ear. We'll stack our knees, kind of an open angle here rather than the knees straight forward. And we'll place our top hand on our hip. We're just going to press down with the bottom knee and shin to lift the hips up. And we can come up a little bit, or we could try and come up nice and high. And then we'll lower down. We can come all the way down or just come close to the floor. We're going to lift up again and lower down. Lift up and lower down. So can you feel this bottom sideways engaging to help get those hips up into the air? There's some work from the bottom leg pressing down, but we want to lift up and activate those oblique muscles to lift the hips up and lower back down and lift them up and lower back down. We're just going to do a couple more. And on this next one, you're going to lift up, and could you lift as high as you can here? Let's take a breath and then go all the way down. We'll just swing our legs out in front and flip over to the other side. And then same thing, we're going to have our elbow right beneath our shoulder, and rather than sinking down, some space from shoulder to ear, knees stacked, open angle here, hand on hip, and then press down to lift up. And sometimes we just lift a little bit off the floor, but let's try and lift a little higher. As we come down, we might come all the way down or just come close to the floor and then go back up. So lowering down and lifting back up and lowering down and lifting up. Feel that bottom sideways contract to lift your hips. And lift. Lower down and lift. Couple more. Lift it up. Lower it down. Lift it up. This next time we come up to as high as you can, but then could you go a little bit higher? Take a breath. Nice. And then lower yourself back down. Let's transition to all fours. Take a moment as you arrive here, just kind of get nice and solid, rooted. Weight under the shoulders and the hips. Spine nice and long. Take a breath. As you exhale, move into cow pose, rounding, flexing through your spine. Then go to your flat back. And on your inhale, arch and extend, cat pose. And then just flow between those two one more time, rounding on your exhale. And then lengthening, arching, and extending on your in-breath. And then just come to flat back. And then go ahead and find your two blocks. And we're going to just place the blocks right under our hands. So you have your wrists under your shoulders, as we typically do on all fours, but your hands are just elevated a bit. So your spine is, more on an angle. So with your hands elevated, take a breath in. And as you exhale, round your back. Flex your spine into cow pose. And it feels a little different. And then move to a long neutral spine. And then try extension. Lift your hips, draw your heart forward, extend your spine. Feels a little different, doesn't it? Breathe in. And then just do that again. Move into flexion. Just maybe notice a little different part of your spine where you're experiencing that flexion. And then come to your flat back or your long spine and then arch and extend. So maybe just experiencing your cat-cow in a slightly different way. All right, so from here, we're gonna sit back into child's pose. And I want you to keep your hands on the blocks. So as you sit back on your heels, you might need to slide the blocks more forward. And since you're not able to use your arms to support your head, you could even widen your knees a bit here and let your head drop to the floor, if that's comfortable. If you need to widen your blocks, just like you widened your knees for it to feel all right for your shoulders, that's fine. So see if there's a way you can be in child's pose, extended child's pose, with your hands elevated that feels comfortable. If not, feel free to set the blocks aside. But you might find that with your hands elevated, your weight can go a little further back into your heels. So you might feel this pose a little differently. You might enjoy that stretch in your low back in this way. You might be feeling something in your shoulders. So just notice, breathe, and feel here. All right, lift your heads up. So let's set the blocks aside. Let's draw our knees in more like a normal child's pose and just notice the difference. Right, so now we're not using the blocks. You might let your head rest on your hands and just observe how this feels compared to when you had your hands on the blocks. All right, we're gonna lift our heads up. Let's reach our arms way out and make our way to downward facing dog. So in down dog, it's a great opportunity to release tension in the neck. We'll just shake our heads a little bit, yes, a little no. Just feel the tension at the base of the neck releasing. Really press down through your hands, draw your hips up and back. Let's just bend a knee and pedal a heel down. And then bend the other knee and pedal the other heel down. And just breathe while we're doing this, alternating heels. Let's bend both our knees a bit, draw the hips way up and back. See if you can create some space across your upper back between your shoulder blades Take a deep breath in and out. And then I'd like you to lower back onto your knees. Now, if your mat is nice and sticky, we're going to try down dog using putting our hands on the blocks. Okay? If the blocks, so push on your blocks. Once you bring your blocks onto your mat, push on them. And hopefully they feel really solid, like they're not going to slide. If they feel like they're going to slide, you might not want to use your blocks. But if they feel like they're going to stay nice and sticky, we're going to try doing down dog with our hands on blocks. So if that feels comfortable, give it a try. If not, just do down dog with your hands on the floor. So we're going to come up into down dog. Maybe we have our hands on our blocks and they're not sliding forward. And if they feel like they're sliding forward, can you feel like you're pulling back? That'll make your core work, right? To pull the blocks back towards you. And as you're here, just notice the difference. It kind of sends the weight further back. So maybe you might feel more like your heels are a little closer to the floor. Or maybe you feel like you can draw your hips a little further up and back. You can still release tension in your neck. You can still broaden across your upper back. You could even pedal your heels here with your hands up on the blocks. Just take some time to notice how this feels. Let's just take one deep breath, pulling the hips way up and back. And then go ahead and walk your feet up towards your hands. So your feet end up planted right beneath you. Your hands might be on the blocks flat, or you might turn the blocks so that they're a little higher. And then this is a nice way to support yourself. So can you take a big breath into your upper back, letting your head just dangle down. Your knees can be soft here. And then on an exhale, we're going to extend the spine forward. So, the blocks might bring the ground closer so you can have a nice, long, extended spine here. So we're going to inhale and drop the head around the back. And then exhale and extend the spine forward. One more time. Breathe in and round down. Breathe out and extend your spine. Good. We're going to round again, breathing in. And on this exhale, after your breath empties, start to roll yourself up. Roll yourself up until you come all the way up to stand. Great. All right. We're going to pick up one block and just do a little work for the shoulder. So let's place the block in one hand, doesn't matter which hand, and we're going to balance the block on our hand. So rather than grabbing the block with the fingers, we're just going to have it resting on top of the hand. We're going to try not to grab onto it. And we're just going to serve that block up forward, and then we're going to draw the elbow back. So we're going to serve it up in front of us, and then we're going to let the elbow go behind us. So it's kind of, the block is by your waist. We're going to serve it up forward. And this time as the elbow goes back, can you spin the elbow out, spin it around behind, and then serve it up behind you. And then bring it back, elbow goes out, spin it around inside, and serve it up in front. Try not to grab onto it as you do it, just balancing it. Take it out to the side, take it back, and lift it up. Bring it in, elbow goes out, bring it forward, and lift it up. Let's try that on the other side. So balance it on your other hand and just serve it up in front of you. And then bring your elbow back behind you so the block comes by your waist. So serve it up forward and then pull it in, let the elbow go behind you. Yeah, we're just working on shoulder mobility here. And there's a little wrist mobility as well. So we're gonna bring it back, take the elbow out, and then spin it around, and then take it behind. And then bring it back, elbow goes out, spin it around, serve it up in front. Trying to resist the temptation to hold on to it with your fingers. I'm trying to just balance it on your hand. Great, all right. Now, elbow by your waist, you're still balancing the block. Just open that arm out to the side and then come back in. So the tendency is for the shoulder to go with it and for your body to turn. Don't let your upper body turn. Just let your arm rotate out to the side and then come forward. So we're going to work the rotators. This is a really obvious way to feel what we mean by rotators. You're rotating your arm out to the side, and you might feel the muscles up in the back of the shoulder supporting this movement. Yeah. One more time, out to the side. Great. Now take that arm, we're balancing the block like you're serving a platter. Just press that arm straight up. And can you have it again? You're not holding it, you're just pressing it up. So that arm straight up. And you can separate your feet a little if your feet are kind of closer together. Can you breathe in and stretch up? So you're kind of lengthening that side. Breathe out and just let the other arm reach down as that block arm reaches up. Take another breath, reach up. And then straighten up and bring that arm down. Swing it around and place it on your other hand. So it's balanced on your hand, elbow by your waist. You're just going to open that arm out to the side and then bring it back in. So open it out, elbow stays by your waist, and then bring it forward. So when it opens out to the side, your shoulder is going to want to go with it, but don't let that happen. Keep your shoulders squared forward and just open your bottom part of your arm out to the side. You may start to feel the muscles in the back of the shoulder kicking in. So just do one or two more of these. Nice. Elbow, so don't let your elbow go away from your body. Your elbow is close to your body. Yeah. Okay, now take that arm and rest a platter on your hand and then press that arm straight up. Can you press it up without holding onto it? Take a breath in as you reach up and then slide the other arm down and keep stretching the block arm up. Take another breath here, reaching up, stretching over, and then straighten up and bring that arm down. And then you can set the block down for now. All right, I want you, I didn't mention this, but I want you hopefully to find a wall that you can back up to and stand with your back against the wall. Could be a door, could be a wall, whatever. So some of us might be able to put our heels against the wall and have, we're all going to have our low back against the wall. We're going to have our shoulders against the wall, and we're going to try and get the back of our head on the wall. So depending on the shape of your body, it might be really tough to have your heels on the wall. So you might want to have your heels a little away from the wall. I was thinking, like, I have a pretty flat butt. Some of us have a little more back here, and it might be harder to have your heels against the wall. So, and just the way your spine is, lots of different reasons. So you're going to have your heels close to the wall, maybe not against the wall, but your low back's against the wall, get your shoulders against the wall, and then try and get your head back against the wall. Now, some of us, to get our head back against the wall, we're going to lift our head up to try to get our head against the wall. So rather than lifting your chin up, can you drop your chin down and think about tucking your chin in and up so that you create length in the back of the neck to try to get the back of your head on the wall. So you're not getting the back of your head on the wall by lifting your chin up. You're getting the back of your head on the wall by tucking your chin in and pressing back in and up. All right, so, we all have different bodies, and some of us may not have our heads against the wall. Some of us might struggle to get the back of our shoulders against the wall. So just do the best you can to get your body back up against the wall. And from here, I'd like you to place your hands on the wall and begin to press your hands into the wall. So pressing your hands into the wall creates an urge for your body to push away from the wall, because that's the action you're starting. You're pushing your hands into the wall. Your body wants to come away. But for now, resist that and just press your hands into the wall. And this is going to create action in your shoulders. So it's kind of different. It's kind of a different technique. Because usually on the floor, we aren't doing this type of movement. So we're pressing the hands against the wall. We still have our body against the wall to whatever degree it is against the wall. And then I want you to imagine that this is kind of like a back bend. So I want you to, as you're pressing your hands into the wall, start to let your hips come off the wall. Let your hips come forward. Let your heart lift up. So you're coming into a little bit of a back bend, and you may experience a nice stretch across the muscles of the chest, the front of the shoulders. If it doesn't feel good, you might widen your position of your hands. You might step a little further away from the wall. So see how this feels. Your head might come a little bit off the wall as well. So at this point, we're just going for a stretch across the front of the chest muscles as we lift the heart up. And take a breath. And then relax that. Just shake your arms out a little bit. Okay, now step your feet maybe a foot away from the wall, your feet a little bit wider. We're going to do a wall hang. So your butt is against the wall. I want you to soften your knees and hinge forward to flat back. And then start to hinge all the way over and just let your arms start to drop down. Let your head drop down. So it's a forward fold with your sitting bones against the wall. Your knees are nice and soft. Your arms and head are dangling down. You're getting a stretch into your low back. Let's grab onto our elbows and let the weight of the arms and the head drop down. You might gently sway a little bit to one side, back to center, sway to the other side, back to center. Just relax, hold it over. Take a breath into your upper back. Let it empty out. Release your arms. And then just draw your belly in and begin to roll yourself up. Take some time to bring yourself upright. Great. All right. We're going to stay at the wall and we're going to step onto a block. And so you're going to put one foot on the block and then you're going to have the other foot off of the block. And can you bend the standing leg and just press the heel onto the floor and then come back up? Bend the standing leg and have the heel go a little further and come back up. Bend the standing leg and lower the heel down and come back up. And just do that a few more times. So you're just kind of waking up the muscles in the thighs here. Pressing the heel down, coming back up. Or not pressing the heel down, but lowering the heel down and coming back up. Try that on the other side. So you're going to stand up on your block and you're going to be holding the wall. You're going to bend the standing leg and just let the heel find the floor and come back up. And heel goes down. So it's just kind of like walking downstairs in a way. And heel goes down. Great. All right. So I want you to, I want you to step up with the balls of your feet on the block and your heels off the block and rise up. So lift your heels up nice and high. And then we're going to bend one knee and lower the other heel down past the line of the block. And then we're going to rise up. We're going to bend the other knee and lower the other heel down past the line of the block. Rise up onto the balls of both feet. Bend one knee, lower the heel down past the line of the block. Rise up, other side. Bend the knee, other heel lowers down. Then we're going to rise up. We're going to lower both heels down past the line of the block. And then I want you to bend your knees a bit. So your heels are low, your knees are bent. You're going to stretch into the soleus, the muscles back in the back of the ankle calf. And then rise up and step up. All right. Continuing on now, you're going to need your two blocks. And I want you to place your blocks kind of near the front of your mat, off to the side. And then stand at the front of your mat. Root down to stand tall. And then reach your arms out. Inhale and reach up. Exhale and swan dive forward. And then bring your hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. Round through your hands, draw your hips up and back, take a breath. Exhale and lower to straight arm plank. Take a breath here. Exhale and lower all the way down. You can come to knees first, and we're going to lower all the way down to belly. Find your prone mountain. Chest sinking into the floor. Nose slightly lifted. Your hands are right by your low ribs, and we're going to inhale up to baby cobra. And when we do that, we often press down with the heel of the hands and press back as we pull the heart forward. And then lower back down. Let's do that again. Inhale up to baby cobra. We could stay here in baby cobra, or we might come up a bit higher into cobra. And then we're going to lower back down. Great. Let's push back to knees and take the hips back. And then come onto all fours. I want you to now take your blocks again and place them under your hands. If it's comfortable for you to come into down dog on the block, we're going to try that again. Come up and back into down dog. Hands on the block. We're going to take a breath. And then can we lower to straight arm plank with our hands on the blocks? Now you could drop onto your knees here too, or have your knees lifted. But with your hands on the blocks, can you press down into the blocks and kind of feel like you're hugging them in towards your midline? And then can you feel like you're pressing them back toward your heels? Yeah. Can you feel like you're pushing the blocks out to the sides? Yeah, all kinds of movements here. All right. Take a breath and then drop to your knees. And then can you lower your chest down right in between the blocks? So your hands are on the blocks like they normally are in your prone mountain position. But rather than your hands on the floor, they're up on the blocks. So they're kind of by your low ribs. So as you're here, can you hug the hands in towards your chest? Can you press the heel of your hands back towards your heels? Could you press your arms out towards the sides of your mat? Yeah, so there's all different ways to engage the muscles of the shoulders just by the way you're pressing. Let's try that again. We're going to press down, and then we're going to press in towards the midline. Then we're going to press back towards the heels. And then we're going to press out towards the sides of the mat. All right, so now I want you to keep pressing down, hugging in a little bit, and then we're going to inhale up to baby cobra. And as we inhale up to baby cobra, press the heel of your hands back a little bit to help draw your heart forward, and then lower back down. So you can do this with the blocks. You could get rid of the blocks if they're not working for you. We're going to start again, pressing down, hugging in, and pressing back as we inhale up to baby cobra. We could stay here, or we could come up a little higher to cobra, and then come back down. And our final version, for those who might be interested in trying up dog, sometimes this is a little more accessible with the blocks. We're gonna press down, hug in, press back. We're gonna inhale up to cobra. If you wanna come up to up dog, you're gonna straighten your arms and come onto the tops of your feet, drawing your heart forward. Can you hug in and press back with your hands on the blocks? Take a breath, and then you can lower back down. Great. All right, let's push back to knees, take the hips back. You might want to try child's pose again with your hands on the blocks, or you might choose to, put the blocks to the side and just support your head with your arms, or let your forehead find the floor. So your choice, child's pose, using the blocks or not. But go ahead and breathe in and out and check in here. All right, with our next inhale, if you haven't already set the blocks aside, go ahead and do so. And then we're going to make our way up to downward facing dog. We're going to breathe in and out here. And then looking forward, let's walk our feet up toward our hands. We'll plant our feet beneath us. All right, so grab your blocks. And you can have them any height that you like. I'm going to have them the high height. Have your feet hip distance apart. Let's take a big step back, maybe with the foot closest to our device. So we're going to step back into a lunge. So we're going to let the hips sink down here. The front knee is right over the front ankle. The hips are sinking down. The feet are hip distance apart. So from here, can we press into the front foot and rise up? We'll leave the blocks there. We'll rise up. Hands on hips, we're going to square our hips forward. Let's just bend and straighten the front knee a few times. Yeah. Really grounding through the front foot. Connect with your breath now. Focus on what you're experiencing in your body. Your breath, your movement. And the next time the front knee is bent, pause there. Let's drop our arms down, lift our heart, reach the arms out and up. Nice big stretch up as we breathe in. And then we're going to exhale our hands down onto the blocks. So let's take our left hand, the same as the back leg, and whatever leg is behind you, that hand on the block is going to stay there. The other arm, I want you to take your arm out to the side, parallel to the floor, and then lift that arm up, opening into a twist. Press down into the block to reach up with your top arm. Try not to let that other knee drop out to the side. Hug that knee in towards the midline. Big breath. And then release your hand back down. We're going to step the back foot in and go with the other leg. So big step back with the other foot into a lunge so that the hips can sink down. This front knee right over this front ankle. Feet hip distance apart. And then when you're ready, press into the front foot and bring yourself upright. Hands on hips, square your hips to the front of your mat. And then begin to bend the front knee. Press down and straighten the front leg. We'll bend the front knee and straighten. Really grounding through the front foot. And just deciding how far down you want to go here. Yeah. The next time the front knee is bent, pause there. Drop your arms, lift your heart, reach the arms out and up. Big breath. And then exhale forward. This time, same hand as the back leg stays on the block. Same arm as the front leg goes out to the side. And then open into a twist. Press down to reach up. Hug that front knee into your midline. Take a breath. And then release that hand down. Step your back foot in. Nice and folded over. Take a breath into your back. Let the breath empty. And roll yourself up. Great. Okay. We're going to do something a little different. One more little different kind of thing. Using one block. Okay. We're going to take the block, set it on one side of your mat. Again, if your mat seems slippery, like it's not sticky enough to hold the block, keep it from sliding, then I wouldn't necessarily do this. You also might want to have a chair or a wall nearby to just support you, because this is going to require a little balance, right? So, you know, it might be nice to just have something to hold on to here. I have a wall here, so I have something in case I need something to hold on to. Because we're going to place a foot on the block. So the block is the wide distance. We're going to put our front foot on the block and then step back into our warrior stance. So we have our back foot turned in and our front foot turned out, and that front foot is on the block. If you're choosing to try this, this is optional. All right, hands on hips. So now bend your front knee. So just like we do all the time with our feet on the floor, we're just doing this with the front foot on the block, which is going to change this whole sensation and experience in our hips. So as you bend the knee, you have that back foot planted, turned in. You might be feeling this more in this back hip. You might be feeling it more here. You might be feeling it differently in all kinds of ways. And maybe it's an experience that is, you know, it feels fine. If it feels really uncomfortable, I wouldn't choose this option. So let's just straighten and bend. And straighten and bend. You can do this with your breath, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. Stay here. Bring our hands to heart. Turn the chest towards your device without your legs moving at all. Let's slide the arms out into Proud Warrior. Broaden across the chest and back. Spine rises up tall. We'll turn our gaze out over that front arm. Let's just take a breath in and out here. Feel this in our bodies. And then relax the arms. So here's where it's going to be a little tricky. You might want a wall or a chair. Can you rotate, lift your back heel up and rotate around? So you're in a lunge. And you want to have your feet hip distance apart, right? You don't want to be on a balance beam. But you're in a lunge with your front foot on the block. And whenever you're in a lunge, if you have some low back issues, it's always nice to put a little support in the low belly to support your low back. So how does this feel to be in a lunge? Maybe you don't need to go real far till you feel a really deep stretch in the thigh, in the hip flexor. But it can be a nice way to feel that stretch by bending into the front knee. You could even bend the back knee a little bit, which will change how you're going to feel this stretch. So we could bend both knees. We could straighten the back leg and bend the front knee. You could take that same arm as your back leg and lift it up. You could take your other arm and lift it up. Take a big breath here. And then bring your arms down. All right, turn that back foot to the floor and then make your way off of the block. We'll try that all on the other side. So you're going to set that block over, place a foot on it. And again, you could be doing this without the block. You could just be doing this our standard way with our foot on the floor. But if you're interested in trying this thing, angle your back foot in with your front foot on the block, bend that front knee. And maybe kind of play around with your position till it feels like it feels all right for your hips, for your body. If it feels really uncomfortable, then just do this with your foot on the floor. But you might find a nice experience here. Feel the weight in your hips a little differently. Maybe feel a little more weight on your back foot. Yeah. So let's straighten the front knee and bend it and straighten it and bend it. And just notice how this feels. Sometimes it's really nice to change things up because we've done this warrior stuff, some of us thousands and thousands of times. And so just changing how it feels kind of wake us up. So next time the knee is bent, let's stay here, bring our hands to heart, turn the chest towards the device or the long line of our mat, and then slide our arms out wide. Broaden across the chest and back, spine rising up tall. Take a breath. Let's exhale our gaze out over that front arm. And take another breath or two here. Just feeling how it feels to be in this proud warrior position slightly differently. Great. All right. So again, this might be a little balance challenge. You might want to grab a chair or a wall. You're going to see if you can rotate onto the ball of the back foot. And then your stance is probably a little too narrow. So widen your stance so you're on train tracks rather than a balance beam. And then you're in a lunge. So if you bend your front knee more, you're in a deeper lunge. And that might feel appropriate or it might not. You might just want a little knee bend. But if you bend into a lunge, you're going to feel that stretch a little differently than we do when the foot is not elevated. Right, a little tone in the belly here, supporting the low back. We could also bend the back knee and feel that stretch a little differently. So back knee could be bent, or back leg could be straight. Front knee could bend a little, front knee could bend a lot. You might try lifting the same arm as the back leg up. You might try lifting both arms up and taking a big breath. And then lowering your arms down. Let's roll that back foot onto the floor. and then step in and step off. All right, that was different. So let's come down and come into a seated position. Yeah, great. Let's try putting our feet together and kind of press the feet into each other. You might be holding your feet, you might be holding your ankles. You might like having your hands behind to help you sit up and not roll back. Whatever works for you. I want you to press your feet in. Pressing in might lift the knees a bit. And then instead of pressing your feet in, press your knees apart. Let your knees move out away from each other. Let's do that again. Let's press the feet into each other. And then let go of that pressing and press the knees apart. And then let's do both at the same time. Press your feet into each other while you press your knees away from each other. Very active bound angle pose here. Pressing in, pressing out. Let's breathe deeply as we do this. Great. All right, bring the knees in, straighten the legs out, shake it out a little bit. Let's just cross the right leg over the left and then twist around to the right. So right hand goes behind. We're going to twist around. That left arm might cross over. We're going to breathe in and out here. Let your head spiral as well. Let the breath empty all the way out. And then release back around. We're going to change the leg. So slide the other leg in and cross it over. That same arm is going to reach behind. The other arm might come across. We're going to root to rise, breathe in, and then spiral around towards that arm that's behind. And then breathe in and out. And then unwind and uncross. And we're going to begin to transition to our final relaxation. So you might want to put on a layer now, put on some socks or cover up with a blanket. You might want to support your head in some way that would be more comfortable. You might want one more movement. That's fine if you want to move in some way before you drop into our final lying posture. Shavasana, corpse pose, lying back, completely relaxed. So take some time to give yourself what you need so that you can end up lying down in a way that's very comfortable. You might need a little support under your knees. What would feel good? So that you end up feeling comfortable, warm, so that your body is able to move into a very relaxed state. So we just did a practice full of all kinds of different movement and experiences. So the body and the mind were really engaging and receiving instruction and trying to integrate new movement, new ideas. And that's good to challenge our bodies and our minds. But now we're just going to let all that go, all that need to follow instructions and do certain things in certain ways. And we're just going to drop back into a place of not having to do anything, not having to be any particular way. We're going to drop into a state that is just the way we are. And however we are is exactly how we're supposed to be right now. It doesn't mean that you can't shrug or change your position at all if that feels good. but there's no need to be a particular way. We just create the time and space to allow the body to settle into its most natural state of being. Our very most natural, relaxed state. The muscles that need to work to keep us alive are going to work. Our breathing muscles, our heart muscles. There's all kinds of muscles that keep working. But then there's all kinds of muscles that don't need to work now. The muscles that clench and grip can just soften and release now. And let go. Sometimes it's helpful to imagine dropping a stone into a pool of water. And as that stone slowly lowers down, drops into the floor, that's like the weight of our body. Just settling and dropping like a stone. And then any burden or tension or worry or stress that we've been holding on to, imagine just letting that release off of you. So the weight that you've been carrying drops off of you and can again just release into the water and drop like a stone. So the heavy weight of our burdens releases away and we become a little lighter, freer. We can lie back easily. Let the weight of the head rest back and let all the muscles in the face soften and smooth, release and relax. Let your mind rest at ease here now and just be as you are. It can feel quite nice to rest here. And if your body would like to stay resting back, feel free to continue. And if you're ready to transition, we can begin bringing our feet to the floor. We can gently roll to the side and take a little time there to transition. And we can push ourselves up, come to sitting, and we might close out our practice with some final few moments for some thought, reflection, maybe spirit of prayer, gratitude, whatever you like. This simple practice of taking this time for ourselves, offering ourselves a chance to kind of reset to a different setting. We've given ourselves a chance to kind of let go of anything that we might have been holding on to, and we can move forward from here like a fresh beginning. So how do we want to move forward this morning? And with love and gratitude, thanks for being here. Peace.